another introduction is like why there was an impact on data management. Of late, there was a recent study which concluded that there was almost 40 billion per year spent on databases, and much more of, of cost was put in for the resources that manage the databases. Also, if you have noticed, over the recent times, there were changes in the applications that we use, the environment that we use, or the data that we use. Like previously, if we take applications, in olden days, we used to use PHP, C, or Java to write. Now we go to Ruby or Groovy to completely, the techniques that we use is predominantly changed. Again, in case of environment, previously applications were developed for single users and it is put onto the desktop and run. Then comes the entire architecture where the data center was set up, the environment, those applications were deployed onto the servers in the data center, and then they were hosted. Of late, we primarily move towards the cloud architecture where some other organization provides the infrastructure or even the software as a service, and we use them. But if we look at the database or the data that is, or the data storage, there is predominantly not, it has not changed over the past 30 to 40 years. It's has always remained the same, which is the relational database. And normalization has been the predominant technique that was used for enhancing the performance. So we split the data into hierarchical structure and then use them to retrieve and then process our, use it for our applications. And in recent times, the impact on data management has been primarily due to increase in the number of concurrent users. Nowadays, we all use mobile apps, desktop apps, and the increase in the number of apps and increase in number of mobile phones that we use, the concurrent usage and the applications demand has become immensely big. And also the data that we are collecting and types of data that we are collecting has also changed. Nowadays we get JSON. When you're using mobile applications, most of the time we go for a JSON related data and we try to process them and try to retrieve the data and then dump it into our database. Again, the richness of the applications with Twitter, Facebook, all we use is like most of the social networking sites have completely brought up this unstructured and semi-structured data. For example, if you're in a location where we are using a mobile app and we want to find a restaurant in a nearby place, so those the restaurant data is again collected and it's fed into our system and we have to process that. So for each user, based on the location or based on the preference, huge amount of data is being collected. So there is a lot of data that has to be processed for even for a simpler application. And also the advent of integration between multiple systems using API approach has gotten huge amount of data that has to be analyzed. Now we'll look at what is a NoSQL DB. Ideally, the term was coined by Eric Evans. It actually doesn't mean NoSQL, which is not like no queries or nothing. It ideally means not only SQL. So it can have queries as well, and also the data can be stored in a different structure. The NoSQL term is ideally, it belongs to the non-relational data storage systems as opposed to the relational database systems. And the concept here is most of the NoSQL DBs doesn't have fixed table schema. So it's a schemaless approach. So like when we have a relational database RDBMS, we have multiple tables and we use joins or views. We create a view or join data from two different tables and then use the data for our applications. But in case of NoSQL DB, there is no fixed schema. So ideally, the dynamic schema would help us in accessing the data faster, so it helps in improving the performance. And the NoSQL DB is an alternate, or you can say a combined approach with RDBMS. It's one other approach that can help in data management, data storage. And ideally, it's important for evolution. So having multiple approaches is always handy. Like when we're thinking about applications environment, we have multiple approaches. Like environment, again, we can go for cloud architecture or for a data center architecture. So likewise, having multiple approaches even for data storage would be helpful. And also, compared to previous years or compared to the past years, now NoSQL solution is more acceptable to the customers even as compared to the previous years.